All right, we're live. Welcome to episode 59 of the Progo Baduk Weiqi Podcast. I am Xiaodai.
And I am Gaza.
Gaza. This week, what are we talking about? We have the Honinbo Game 2 and the LG Cup preview. We got the full lineup for you. And what's happened in the Korea Strongest final. And a little bit of an update from the Asian Games qualifier women's section from China, and also who became the challenger in the Gosei, and some nice pictures about our man Ding Hao. And
We also have some updates on the Korean League playoffs as well.
yes, and also there's a what do you call it, some Bing League and Yi League updates from China. Before we go to the calendar, now guys, another packed show for whatever reason it is. Even though it doesn't feel that packed to me, but let's start with the Honinbo Game 2. Gaza, what's happened there?
Well, the Honinbo Game 2 is the second game of a best of 7 title match for one of the big 3 titles in Japan.
Yep.
However, as you've mentioned before, the Honinbo will soon be demoted to a smaller prestige,
Yeah.
but still major title
Yeah.
in Japan. This will be the last year, as far as we know, in which the Honinbo will be a best of 7 2-day title match.
Yes. It makes me sad every time I say this, but from next year it'll become a 1 day final. Each game will be 1 day and it'll be a best of 5. And instead of being a league, it now becomes just a knockout tournament to determine the challenger.
That is right. But for now, the games in the title match will still be 2 days long.
Yes.
And in fact, Game 2 started today, which
Yes.
means we only have 1 day worth of play.
Thankfully, and what I mean is that thankfully it didn't end in the first day, because this is how the game ended on the first day. We're still waiting for the sealed move. In this game, black is Ichiriki, white is Iyama Yuta. So Iyama
Yes.
Yuta has already made a seal move, and we'll know about it tomorrow.
And it should be mentioned that Ichiriki won the first game
Yeah.
of this title match. So he is leading 1-0. Of
Yeah.
course, you need to win 4 games to win the Honinbo title. And Iyama has won the last 11 Honinbo titles.
Yeah.
Ichiriki is seeking his first ever Honinbo.
Now, Gaza, the current position looks very complicated to me. Both sides have some weak groups, but the AI says it's even.
The AI does say it's even. I personally didn't follow the game live today,
Yeah.
but I would say that it is, well, for me it's very difficult, but I don't really I would prefer to play as white.
Right. Yeah.
I would say black seems to have quite a lot of weaknesses in the middle. The upper left is not. Those stones aren't weak for black, but it seems like black needs to play another move to connect it with the lower left.
Yeah.
Mind you, only 73 moves have been played, so there's really a lot left to play. It's really hard to say that either player has a huge advantage, but I would say that it seems like it would be easier to play
As white.
as white.
Yeah. Yeah. No. So what it looks to me is that black does have quite a few groups. Like, for example, this top left group and this middle group, and this lone stone over here. White also doesn't look that strong. Look, white's got weaknesses everywhere. So as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see, but it's going to be a massive fight, as we can see here. God knows what's going to happen over here. It's going to be a really interesting middle game.
Yes, I do say I am looking forward to day 2. It does look poised to be an interesting game, unlike game 1, which already seemed to be over
by the
by
first day.
the by the end of the first day,
Yeah.
and it was still instructive to see Ichiriki killing a big dragon of Iyama's,
Yep.
but it wasn't really the quality that you would expect from a 2-day game. However, this certainly looks to be different.
Yes. Very, very interested to see what turns out in the fight over here. So that's the Honinbo.
Now, before we move on,
Yeah.
Xiao Dai,
Mm.
I feel that since we are um, halfway through
Yeah.
this game, we should at least try to predict what the sealed move would be.
Okay. Yes. Well, Gaza, you gotta go first because I'm gonna be ad-libbing over here, or not ad-lib. I have to think on the spot.
Okay, my guess is going to be the attachment. Yeah, move 28. Did you
Mm.
diagonal diagonal from stone number 28 that you've got
Diagonal from
there?
move 28. So
Yes,
28 is here. Diagonal to
yes,
that.
and attached to that black stone. Attached to that black
Like
stone.
somewhere here.
No, but
Uh,
attached to the black stone.
you mean this one?
No. Attached to the black stone.
How's it
Diagonal from move 28.
like that?
That one. Yes.
Okay. You want to block black from going out. Yeah, it's really hard for me to say. I really can't see what's happening here. Obviously, white's got weaknesses down here. I guess if I'm white and I'm thinking, is black, is my white group weaker than black's group? Yeah, maybe that does look like a kind of like a shape kind of move. I wonder if white can cut me. So I don't know. I'm gonna abstain from this because it's too hard. So that's just me. I'm
You're
gonna
not even
give
going to
up.
make a guess.
No, I don't. It's too complicated. It's gonna be. Obviously, I don't want to give up on white over here. I do feel like adding a move. It looks like Atari. Looks like it could be Sente. Actually, it actually doesn't look like Sente. Yeah. Or I want to pull back, but I don't know if pullback lets me get cut. It's too complicated. I'm gonna give up. Give up on here. So let's see if Gaza turns out to be right. Okay, so that's the Honinbo game one, game two, okay, day one. Awesome, looking forward to that. Gaza. Now, other big news. I don't know. It's a big news. I don't think it's a big news this week. It might have been, but the full lineup of the LG Cup has just been announced. The wild card has also been announced, and I'm really looking forward to the LG Cup starting tomorrow. It seems on Monday, the 29th. And
Yes.
the full lineup is what's listed here. Now, the LG Cup, since COVID has been downgraded, I guess downgrade is the right word, to a 24-person tournament, 24-player tournament instead of 32. So the first round is between 16 players, and the winners will face the seeds. So basically, the seeds get a direct berth into the second round almost. So that's what you see. Any player with a name kind of seed after it, they are basically directly into the second round. So what we have, the lineup is from China, Ding Hao, who's a seed, Yang Dingxin, also a seed. They are both finalists in the last LG Cup. Of course, Yang Dingxin had a famous game where he beat Shin Jinseo and then got into a lot of trouble for accusing Li Chunhao for cheating, but he was still allowed to play in the final. Even though he's technically still in a ban, he was allowed to play in the LG Cup because apparently the ban doesn't apply to to international tournaments. So that's why we see the return of Yang Dingxin. And then we got Mi Yuting, Li Chunhao, Ke. Ke is also a seed, even though Ke qualified. I don't know how they determine the seed. And then we got Gu Zihao, Li Weiqi, and Wang Xinghao rounding a very, very strong Chinese contingent. Is China going to win again, Gaza?
Well, I think it's going to be either China or Korea, I would suggest.
Very nice. 1 + 1 = 2. Taiwan's sending out their Lai Junfu again. Lai Junfu, of course, if you remember, just beat Ke the Lanka Cup before succumbing to Tan Xiao in the second round. So very strong player, but he has a little bit of a what I should how I should describe it? A bit of a dismal display in the Korean League.
Yeah, he didn't do so well in the Korean League, but Korean League is faster time controls than the LG Cup.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and the Mingren as well, the Taiwan Mingren has long time controls, and he did very well in that.
Yeah.
So perhaps he's a bit of an expert at the longer time controls, in which case he should be just fine in the LG Cup.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to how he does. It does feel like the Lai is, challenging Xu Hao Hong for the Taiwan number one kind of feel to him. But he's still very, very young, so let's see what happens there. Moving on to Korea, we got Shin Jinseo, surprise, surprise, who's also a seed. Park Junghwan and Byung Sang-il are both seeds, so the Korea top three are all seeded. Now, interestingly, Shin Min-jun was announced as a wild card, but he's also a seed. So I don't know if you have anything to say about that, Gaza.
Well, I don't think you should be a seed if you don't qualify, in my opinion.
Okay,
But
well,
I mean, technically, Shin Jinseo didn't qualify either, but he didn't qualify because he was given the ranking seed. So
right, yeah,
I mean, if you're a wild card, you shouldn't get a bye if you're a wild card. Doesn't make any sense to me.
yeah, okay.
I mean, in tennis, you'd never see a wild card get a bye.
Oh yeah, okay. That makes sense. And then you got Ang Kuk-hyun, An Sun-jun, Han So-ju, Kim Min-hyun, Kim Jung-hyun, Park Sun-jin, Han Tae-hee, Seo Hyun-jun, rounding out the Korean contingent. So a very, very long list for Korea there.
Yes, I don't think any of those players are. All of those players have world major experience. I'd imagine that some of these players
There's nothing more powerful than you.
may not have played in the LG Cup before.
Right.
I'm just going to quickly try and check, but I believe that they have all.
Korea there.
Yes, I don't think they played in world majors before, so
Okay.
no new blood
Okay.
come around.
Yep. Now, so what we have from Japan is just three players. Shibano Toramaru, who happens also to be a seed. I think he also got a seed last season. And then you got Shi Chaoyuan and Yu Zhengqi. But surprise, surprise, no Iyama Yuta and Ichiriki Ryo because they were involved in the second day of the Honinbo.
That is correct. Yeah. And I can correct myself. Park Sang-jin for Korea is actually playing in his first world major. I was a little bit surprised to hear that he hadn't been in one before, but yes, this is his first.
Yep.
Han Tae-hee is going to be participating in his first LG Cup. He has participated in world majors in the past, but not the LG Cup.
Right.
Just checking some others. Seo Hyun-jun has definitely played in the LG Cup before. I'll just check if Kim Jong-hun has played. Yes, he has. He has. And I'm pretty sure Han Sung-ju played in either. No, Han Sung-ju will be. Looks like he'll be playing in his first LG Cup, unless he played in the last one. Did he play in the last one?
Yeah, I'm not sure. But
let me just quickly check.
Yeah.
He did not. No.
Sure. Okay.
So Han Sung-ju will be playing in his first LG Cup as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Gaza, you might want to click your mouse a bit further away from the mic. But,
yeah, I know. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries. But apart from that, we've got from basically Japan. You got Shibano, Shi Chaoyuan, and Yu Zhengqi. So there's actually three people from Taiwan participating in this tournament. So very, very interesting. Two of them represent Japan, of course, yes. But yeah, that's a lot.
Yes. Right. Now, the actual first games start tomorrow as of this recording.
Yeah.
So the first round has been released.
Oh, has it been? Okay, let me check.
It has been released, and I can give you the matchups.
Yeah.
Now, we have
Yes.
Kim Young-hun
Yes.
versus Wang Jinghao.
Kim Young-hun versus Wang Xinghao. Oh, okay. That's I guess I'll be predicting a Wang victory there, but it would be close. Kim is no slouch.
Yes, Kim Young-hun is a former Samsung Cup semi-finalist,
Yep.
and this will be their first ever match.
Yep.
We have An Sung-jun versus Su Shaowan.
An Sanjun, yep. Yeah, you gotta pick An there.
An is more experienced for sure, but I'm a
Isn't
big
he
Su
number 7
Shaowan
in?
fan.
Isn't he number 7 in Korea?
He's a regular top 10.
Right.
I'll just quickly check.
If I recall correctly, he was.
Oh
Number
my
7.
God, he is number 7 at the moment. Yes.
Yes, good memory. Good memory.
But this will be their first match. They've never
Yes.
played before.
Yep.
Okay, we have An Kuk-hyun versus Lee Junhao.
Yep. An Ko-hun versus Lee Shun-hao. Lee Shun-hao has a bit of a weird dip in form. So even though I
He has
still
had a weird dip in form.
yeah, but I still would be much more leaning towards Lee than An because An is a bit of a has-been, I guess.
I will say though, if
Yeah.
Lee Junhao gets black,
Yeah.
um,
then it's iffy.
the odds might change because he seems to be quite poor with black. But
Yeah. Wow.
we'll see. In any case, they have played twice before, and Lee Junhao won both times.
Yep. Okay.
Okay. Lai Junfu, the Taiwan rep, he'll be playing Han Sung-ju.
Han Sung-ju.
Yes.
Yeah, hard to pick this one. I guess they would be fairly even, but I do think that Han would actually be the stronger player.
Yes, they have. This will be their second ever game. The first time they played, Han Sung-ju won that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we have Kim Jong-hyun versus Lee Wei-ching.
Kim Jong-un, Lee Wei-ching. Yeah, Lee all the way. Can't see Kim winning this one.
Yes. Lee Wei-ching won their only ever previous encounter.
Yep.
Okay. Then we have Seo Hyun-jun versus
Yu Zhengqi.
who?
Yu Zhengqi.
Yu Zhengqi. Yes.
That's
Seo Hyun-jun versus Yu Zhengqi. Yes.
This one is a bit of a hard one, but you would favor the Korean players in general. So yeah, Seoul for me.
Yes. Well, I mean, considering Japan's performance in the Chujo Lanka Cup, it is definitely hard to bet on them.
Yeah.
But surprisingly, they have actually played before, and Seol Hyun-jun won. I'm just surprised that they've actually met before.
Okay. Oh, I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure what tournament would be, but maybe it was like a world major, I guess.
Yeah.
Now we have Han Tae-hee versus Mi Yu-ting.
Mate, Mi Yuting's currently ranked number 2. So by just looking at the ratings point, Mi would just overpower Han easily. But Mi does have a bit of a inconsistency at the international stage. He sometimes just bombs. So I don't know, but still, obviously, Mi is the favorite.
Yes. Interesting though, they have played once in the past, and Han Tae-hee actually won that time.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe it was Mi Yu-ting is certainly I do have like several examples of Mi Yu-ting losing games and in quite embarrassing fashion as well. He's not, I wouldn't say he's known for it, but there's definitely some examples, including one game where he was fighting a ko and he recaptured the wrong ko.
Yeah. Well, and also he lost to Sada Sishi in the Chunlan Cup.
Yes, with the getting out red of all things.
Yeah, well, his whole dragon died. Life and death.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a bit.
And finally, we have Park Sang-jin, the debutante, versus Guzi Hao.
Yeah, well, yeah, Gu will just completely destroy him, I think.
Yes, I mean, what an opponent to get in your first matchup. But World Majors are not supposed to be easy, and this is the first time they will play each other.
Yeah. Oh wow. But an upset can easily happen because it's tough gig to make it even to an international tournament because you have to beat a lot of domestic opponents. So Park is by no means lost already, but Gu is the favorite for sure.
Yes, I mean, even in Korea, it is difficult to we've mentioned before just how difficult it is in China
Yeah.
to qualify for the world majors, but in Korea it's starting to become difficult as well. You see players like Park Kyun-ho, Won Sung-jin not participating, Kim Ji-sok also
Yeah.
unable to qualify.
Yeah.
So Kang Dong-yoon, of course,
Yeah.
is not here either. He's probably the biggest name
Mm.
to miss out from Korea.
Yeah.
So not so easy nowadays,
Yeah.
even in Korea now.
Yeah.
And this is considering half of the field are Korean.
Yeah.
And of course, it is a Korean hosted tournament, so
Yeah,
it
wow.
makes sense that a lot of the participants are going to be Korean.
Now, guys, I'm not sure if you do know which games will be played in the first day and which will be played in the second day. I do believe the round of 24 will be played tomorrow, and the round of 16 will be played 2 days later on the 31st of May. And from what I can see here, the quarterfinal and semifinal will be played on the 11th of December and the 13th of December, respectively. And the final will be played in 2024 January. So, and it will be a best of 3. So that will be very interesting. The winners' purse will be, I believe this is 300 million won, and the losing finalists will get 100 million won. And it's 3 hours per person, 40 seconds, 5 times per Yomi. So
Yes, 3 hours each, which is longer than any domestic competition in Korea.
yeah,
So this is, for Korean players, this is the longest event that they will participate in. There's no other world majors that have longer time controls. 3 hours is the longest for any world major. I believe the Korean article that I have here does indicate which games will be on tomorrow and which games will be on Tuesday, but I cannot translate it, so
okay, no, that's
I'm not going to try.
yeah.
However, the games there will be live Kifus available, and at least one of the games will be streamed on Baduk TV.
Yeah.
I'll just quickly check to see if Baduk TV have already mentioned the game that they will be streaming tomorrow.
Yeah. Sorry, I think the games will be the round of 24 will be played on one day only. So all 8 games will happen on the same day. That's what it looks like.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
In fact, it looks like you are correct. So they will play all the games on the same day. So there you go.
Yeah.
All 8 games will be played tomorrow.
Yeah.
Monday, that is.
Yes.
Mhm.
Very much looking
And
forward to it.
then the round of 16 will start on Wednesday.
Yes. So that's the LG Cup, Gaza. Now, Gaza, let's kind of move on to the domestic scene in Korea. What's happened there with the Korea's Strongest final, Gaza?
Yes, so the Korea's Strongest final is a title holder challenger tournament.
Yep.
The only one in Korea. We've covered this a few times in previous podcasts, but the challenger is determined via a league, and that was won by Park Junghwan, the number 2 in Korea.
Yep.
And so he earned the right to challenge the current title holder of Korea's Strongest, and that is, of course, Shin Jinseo, Korea's number 1.
Yes.
And so the title match is a best of 5 final.
Yep.
You need to win 3 games
Yep.
to win the title.
Yep.
And games 1 and 2 were played this week, Monday and Wednesday, I believe.
Yep.
Now, Shin Jinseo, unsurprisingly, people may say, he won both games.
Wow, believe it or not. Yes.
Yes. So he's ahead 2 games to 0 in a best of 5.
Yes.
Looking very good for him to retain the title. And this would be his 4th consecutive Korea's Strongest title were he to retain it.
Yes.
Now, game 1, I watched both of these games live.
Yep.
And game 1 was an interesting game, but too complicated for me.
Yep.
It was a very high quality game. And I should also point out that this is These games are 2 hours long,
Yep.
2 hours each side, which I think is the longest
Yep.
in the Korean domestic scene. The longest time controls.
Yep.
But like I said, game one, Shin Jinseo won that one. I think it ended up being a Yosei, winning it in Yosei. There were no big groups that died or anything like that. And it was difficult for me to understand just what went wrong for Park Junghwan, but perhaps someone else of better knowledge and ability than us can review that game.
Yeah.
But game two I found interesting, very interesting.
Yeah.
It took a wild turn very early in the game, and you've got the key through up there for those that are watching the video. And the move that I wanted to look at in game two is move 45. Now in game two, Shin Jinseo is white, Park Junghwan is black.
Yes.
And in the position here, Park Junghwan plays S14.
Yes, which
now,
is this Atari here.
Yes. Now, can you explain, Zhao Dai, what the purpose of this move, what this move does?
Yeah, so I was reading I was reading online some of the explainer about this. Now apparently, well actually I might just actually go back here and so this is the shape before here. So this black is safe in the corner, but for whatever reason Park Junghwan decided to start a fight. And then obviously Shin Jinseo said, "Yep, I'm happy to fight you." And that's how this position become what it is. Now, at this point, of course, he just Atari. Now, at this point, there's actually two ladders happening. And I just show the viewers the two ladders. So imagine if black play elsewhere. And then white got one ladder here, so Atari, and this becomes a ladder of these three stones. So that's one ladder that's kind of hidden. Now the other ladder is a bit harder to find, but it's a bit of a Tetsuji that you get taught. The Tetsuji is here, Atari over here. Obviously, if black takes, then this becomes a ladder right away. And you may be thinking, what if black just runs down? Black can keep Atariing, and then it becomes a ladder again. And notice that this stone over here, this black stone over here, doesn't act as a ladder breaker because you can Atari more. So it doesn't become a ladder breaker. So there's actually two ladders here, and apparently this is a very classic ancient Chinese problem. How do you break two ladders with one move? And Gaza, and I guess that's what the true solution to this is. But you can kind of now, once you understood that there's actually two ladders, you can see why Park Junghwan played here. It's to, of course, break this ladder. So this no longer becomes a ladder because this Atari. So that's one way to break the ladder. Now and then white Ataris, and then now Park Junghwan has the time to fix one ladder, and because now this is no longer a ladder. But apparently this is actually really bad for black. But why it is so bad for black? That's a bit harder to assess, but I guess that's the idea. But I think what would be very interesting is what does AI say is the best way to break this ladder, and that goes back to it being a classic Chinese problem, which is to break two ladders with one stone, and the move is here. What a beautiful move this is! Breaks two ladders at once, and this is the AI recommended move. This would be harder for Shin Jinseo to handle, I guess, but I think even if he played here, the game wouldn't be in Park Junghwan's favor. I guess it would just be maybe even. Let me quickly check. Oh no, it would be a little bit better for white already, but it's probably not as much as if. It's certainly
playable.
Yeah,
it's certainly a playable game.
But whereas I think if you played here, if I remember, white it became a lot worse for black. So
that's exactly what happened. Yeah. Black played there, and then after a few moves later, when it sort of got a bit more resolved, all of a sudden White was ahead by a significant amount.
Yeah.
White's groups are looking fine.
Yeah.
Like White sacrificed that one stone in the upper right, but White gets really good real estate on that right side, and all of a sudden White is in a great position, and Black is really struggling.
Yeah.
And it just, I thought it just surprised me, like because I couldn't understand why Park Junghwan's move was so
bad.
It seemed like all of a sudden, White was ahead. I'm not sure if this was some sort of trap that Shin Jinseo set up for Park Junghwan. I don't think it was, because I don't think Shin Jinseo would have expected that Park Junghwan to fight to play Q14 in the first place.
Yeah.
It just seemed to be one of those games where it ended up getting into a position where Black had the tougher choice. Like the game was fairly even, but White had the easier moves. Black had the more difficult moves to make, and Park Junghwan was not able to find the right moves.
Yeah. I don't know if it's weird to talk about feelings, but whenever I'm faced with a tough position in Go and Weiqi, I usually have a feeling. So what I feel here is that if I'm Black, I feel that White taking the corner like this, it's just too big. It feels like White's taken too many points, and my Black stones are a bit cramped. Mind you, like there's still this Atari here, which is extremely annoying. And later on, these kind of things just White's got a pretty decent corner out of this if you think of it like this. So
yeah, you have to look at also how many stones Black has played in the upper right for not much.
Yeah, exactly.
Not much to show for it.
Yeah, so that's how I feel. I just the top right hand corner doesn't give me a good feeling, but otherwise. But it could just be still a very close game. It could just be the AIs being extremely harsh here. But hey, whatever it is, the commentary I read was that it feels odd that for Park Junghwan to initiate the fight, but then immediately fall behind. So that's what happened in game 2. And
yes, and I will say that from this point on, Park Junghwan was not able to recover. It was just one-way traffic from here. Shin Jinseo had no problems converting this into a solid victory. Yeah. And yes, that put him up 2-0. I'm quite sure that they Park Junghwan resigned with about 20 minutes left of main time, which is not very common. For Park Junghwan, he usually gets well into Byoyomi before before games of his finish. Yeah, but it was just too hopeless at this point. Quite and I think it really all hinged on that one move 45, and just it was a bit maybe it was a bit unfortunate that he had got put in such a tough position so early in the game. But I mean, like you said, he's the one who initiated the fight. So, So there you go.
Can't blame anyone. So that's what it is. So now one thing I did notice about these graphics is that on top of this 2, which is of course the score, sits 2 commentators. What's the deal with that, Gaza? Do you have any insights into what that might be?
Well, those 2 commentators are Song Tae-kon and An Hyung-jun. Song Tae-kon we've mentioned before. An Hyung-jun is actually An Sung-jun's brother.
Ooh, nice.
I don't think I believe he's the current team manager of Taegem in the Korean League, but I don't think he himself actually plays competitively anymore. He sort of just takes on a managerial role and also clearly a commentator role. But I don't know why they're appearing on the graphic. Perhaps they're tipping Shin Jinseo to win or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, okay. Maybe.
Speaking of which, who do you think is going to win this Korea's Strongest final?
I think guys, I think it depends on whether water is wet. Yeah, I think it's gonna be Shin Jinseo, by the way. Now, Gaza. Now, when you talk about graphics, in certain things you don't understand graphics. I hope you do know that there's a software called Photoshop.
Yeah.
And by the way, this is Ding Hao, the most recent world champion, I do believe, winning the LG Cup, 27th LG Cup.
Yeah.
And this is also Ding Hao on the cover of Bazaar Man, which I think is a men's magazine, which I personally have never read, but he's doing a photo shoot. I think this Gaza, do you know anything about this magazine? Is it like a fashion magazine?
Oh yeah.
Okay, sure. I'm gonna quickly check with ChatGPT what actually is this thing. But while I'm doing that, this is the photo shoot, and I just really like the fact they actually bothered to interview a Weiqi player that's not Kerje, and just Ding Hao, which is great. Ding Hao's won the LG Cup. He deserves to be interviewed by a mainstream magazine. And this is the photo shoot where they started throwing stones around, and it's heavily photoshopped. And this is Ding Hao wearing a coat, playing very serious Weiqi by himself. I don't know what's the point of this picture, but
Wait, is he holding a stone?
he's holding a stone, but he's back to the camera and facing a plant.
That's not that's not a that's not a Weiqi pose. That's so weird.
It's just, I have a feeling that this set of photo shoots was done by the intern. They were like, "Oh, we're gonna interview Ding Hao." Like, Ding who? Ding Hao. Oh,
Like
okay.
it makes it makes it appear like Go players just when they're going there about their day-to-day lives, they're just holding stones.
Yeah. I don't really know what's the idea behind it, but hey, they are bordering to take a do an interview with Ding Hao, and if you have access to the magazines, there's a nice little write up there. But I think what it says is Ding Hao says he likes sci-fi, anything abstract, mysterious, and unknown are basically things that attract him. Okay, so he's a sci-fi man. So that's it. That's a nice picture about Ding Hao to show you what's happened. So this is Ding Hao, and this is also Ding Hao. Makes a huge difference. Now, Gaza, let's look at moved on again to Japan. Let's look at another big game that's happened this week. In fact, it was very recent. It's the Gosei Challenger final between Ichiriki Ryo and Zhengqi. I don't know.
Yes,
I think. By the way, I think there should be a H here.
Yes, I just want to apologize in advance. I misspelled Zhengqi. Unfortunately, on Reddit, if you get the title wrong, you can't edit a title. You either have to leave it as it is and own up to your mistake, or repost the whole thing. And I just could not be bothered. I apologize.
No, that's fine. I think people posting on Reddit is already a huge achievement. But these are the two players that you see: Ichiriki versus Zhengqi. Now Zhengqi is a little bit of a perennial number 2, but how did he go this time, Gaza?
Well, first off, I do want to say I also made a mistake last week. I said that Zhengqi challenged for the Gosei last year, while Ichiriki challenged the year before. That's actually not true. Ichiriki was in the last 2 Gosei title matches. In fact, he's been in the last 3 Gosei title matches.
Very nice.
In 2020, he beat Naoki Hane to win the Gosei. Then in 2021, he lost the Gosei title to Iyama Yuta.
Right.
And then in 2022, he earned the right to challenge for his title back, but lost 3-0 to Iyama Yuta. So this will be his 4th consecutive Gosei title match.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I thought that Zhengqi challenged because it turned out Zhengqi actually challenged for the Oza and the Judan last year, but not the Gosei. So in fact, Zhengqi has never challenged for the Gosei. And in this game, he was not able to get his first challenge.
No.
He lost to Ichiriki Ryo.
Yes. And I think when I looked at the Kifu, I think Yu Zhengqi fell behind quite early, and he was under heavy attack by Ichiriki. Ichiriki felt like he was just chasing Yu Zhengqi, and Yu Zhengqi had two dragons running. He's just too busy. He just couldn't really, defend himself very well against Ichiriki's attacks, and that's kind of his fate was probably set around before 100 moves has been played. He was just running two heavy groups. But so basically, congrats to Ichiriki for winning the game and becoming the challenger again.
Yes, and I just want to point out something. For those watching the video, do you notice anything about this photo?
There's a watermark by the Nihon Kin.
No, I mean the board position.
Board position. It was very. There's an empty corner.
There's actually two empty corners.
Very nice.
It's you can't tell because Ichiriki has his hand covering one of the corners, but actually, there's two empty corners. Yu Zhengqi invaded on move 3.
Yes. Yeah.
It's not a common tactic to invade. So basically, Black's second move was a 3-3 invasion. Not very common.
Yeah.
To invade before all four corners have a stone on it, but it does happen in professional play, and it's not a mistake.
Yeah.
In the end, though, it was not good enough. Yu Zhengqi was black in this game.
Yeah. So...
And Ichiriki will be looking to win the Gosei title that he won previously, but then lost to Iyama Yuta. And if you think about it, last year Ichiriki lost the Honinbo challenge for the Honinbo, lost 4-0 to Iyama Yuta. Challenge for the Gosei as well, lost 3-0 to Iyama Yuta. He was doing very poorly against the Iyama Yuta in title matches last year, although he did, of course, win the Kisei. So he definitely won a big title.
Yeah.
And that was against the Iyama Yuta. In the Honinbo, he's already got off to a winning start. Will he do well in the Gosei? And you also have to consider one other thing to point out is that he actually beat Iyama in the Tengen Challenger final.
Right.
Which I believe we reported on.
Yep.
So he does have certainly an improved record against Iyama this year. Will that continue in the Gosei? We shall see.
Yeah, we shall see. There's an article online asking whether, Ichiriki has overtaken Yama as Japanese number 1. I guess it's arguable, but if he wins this series, there's a lot more to talk about on that front. So, looking forward to it, Gaza. Now, Gaza, before we move on, maybe we should talk about the... what I mean is we should just go and talk about the next topic, which is Asian Games qualifier for the women that's happening in China. Now, I'm going to give a very brief update because I don't have the full list of results. But what's happened was, apparently, the first 7 rounds, Yu Zhiying's went on a 7-game winning streak, 7 out of 7. And I think it's because I think it's a double round robin. There's only going to be I can't remember how many games. It's meant to be I think maybe 10 games kind of thing. I'm really not sure, but actually not more than 10 games. But Yu Zhiying went on 7 out of 7. We thought she's got it in the bag, but what she does in the next 3 games is she loses 3 games in a row. She lost to Zhou Hongyu and this lady here, which is, I believe, it's Tang Xiaowan, a young player. And she also lost another game. I can't remember who now, to Li He. So she's lost 3 games already. So she's now 7-3. That's her record. But there's another player on 7 wins, which is Wei Ming, who we've met before in the Hoban Cup. She was she played for 5 games and won. She played 6 games but won 5. So she had a 5 consecutive win streak in the Hoban Cup. Wei Ming, very, very young player, not even 16, I don't think. So she's also on 7 wins. So,
and do you recall, if for those that are unaware, this is actually the second time that the Asian Games qualifiers have happened for China.
Oh yes, yes.
The first time around was last year, and if you recall, Wu Yiming
yeah,
was
had just failed to make it.
just missed out.
Yeah.
And I do have her age, by the way. She is 16 years
Oh.
old now.
Yeah. Okay.
She was 15 in last year's qualifiers. And I mentioned my my thoughts on redoing the qualifiers in last week's podcast. In to give it short, I don't agree with it. Redoing the qualifiers, I think it's unfair to the players that qualified
Yeah.
already, and all of the effort and hard work and emotions that they put in to earn that position, only to get it taken away.
Yeah.
But in any case, it looks like Wu Yiming is very close to taking full advantage of her second chance.
But now, guys, the other interesting thing is that, of course, Jo Hong Yu pictured here is a well, it's arguable whether she's Chinese number one, but she's definitely considered the top two along with Yu Zhiying. She's actually done really poorly in the Asian Games qualifier. I believe her record in the sixth round, as eighth round was like 2-6, something like that. It was very, 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 very low. I'll see if I can quickly find it, but then she's kind of have a little bit of an uptick. She's beaten Jo Hong Yu, as we discussed.
What do you mean? You said
Yu
I thought
Zhiying. Jo Hong Yu beat Yu Zhiying.
Yu Zhiying, yes.
Yu Zhiying. So, but I now I remember. I think the Asian Games for women, they will select top 4 players.
Yes, it's the top 4.
Yeah.
Well, they selected the top 4 last time. So.
Yes. And Wu Yiming came 5th last time. So, but 5th means that she got onto the Hoban Cup squad, but just not the Asian Games squad. But
Right.
after 10 rounds, it looks like what we have here is that we got... Okay, there's actually 8 players in the league, so double round robin, so there will be 14 games.
So still plenty of time,
Yeah,
but
so
6 losses may be tricky.
Yes. So let me just quickly read out the results. So we got Fang Roshi on 3 wins, Wang Yubo on 4 wins, Wu Yiming on actually 6 wins up to round 8. They don't have the latest one, but up to after round 10, she's definitely on 7 wins. So there's actually no point reading out this table because it's just a bit out of date. And some of these articles are so unorganized, I don't really know where to look for who's done what. But let's just say that Jo Hong Yu might still be in for a chance because you're selecting 4 players out of 8. So a few rounds for Jo Hong Yu to make amends, but Yu Zhiying and Wu Yiming are leading the league table with 7 out of 10.
You would have to assume that 7 wins would be the bare minimum to make the team. I can imagine some scenarios where 6 wins would be enough if enough players.
Yeah.
But I would say that you'd want 7 wins to have a chance, which means you can't get more than 7 losses. So Jo Hong Yu, I think it might be a little bit tricky for her.
Yeah, a bit tricky.
But since surprisingly enough, the Chinese Weiqi Association is not doing well at giving us these results, we may just need to wait until round 14 is finished before we even bother to report it.
Yeah, but it's gonna be very, very soon. The results should come out in a week or 2.
Yes, we should have the results by the next podcast, I would imagine.
So let's just look at some pictures and let's just move on to the next topic. Yes. So, actually, it says here in the last sentence here, it says Yu Zhiying and Wu Yiming are on 7 and 3 records. Li He, Lu Mingchuan, Wang Yubo are on 5-5 records. So they're about 50%. Jo Hong Yu, Tang Jiawen, who beat Yu Zhiying, they're on 4 wins and 6 losses. So they're actually equal 6 out of 8. So that's not so great for Jo.
No, that's only one. That's only. I mean,
1 spot. Yeah.
One win behind.
Yeah, 1 win behind. And on at last spot is Fang Roshi on 3 wins. So it's not too bad. Johong Yu can still come back.
There's certainly one player that's definitely missing from this
Ruinawi.
Ruinawa, yeah. So it looks like she won't be playing in the Asian Games.
No, she didn't even make it past the first round of competition. Yeah.
Oh well.
Oh well. Well, that's the another. Maybe quickly cover another minor news coming out of China. Now, what's happening is they managed to squeeze in the Bing League and Yi League. So Bing, of course, is the third division. Yi League is the second division in China. And if you recall last year, or not last year, but recently, Team Japan just got demoted from the Yi League. So they're now playing the Bing League third division. And what's happened was that chances are they're not going to get promoted back to the Bing League, Yi League, because they're currently sitting at least, let me count, 1, 2, 3, 4. So they're sitting at about 9th place out of about 30 teams in the Bing League. So, and to get promoted, I think you have to come in the top 2. They are about 3. They have 3 points less than the top team. The top team have 9 points, and they only have 6 points. So that means they have only won about 3 matches out of their 6 matches so far. And there's only 1 round to go. So basically, they're not going to make it. Now, Team Taiwan have 2 teams in the Yi League, and it doesn't look like they'll get close to a promotion, because they are sitting at 2 points and 4 points. So having 4 points means that you have won 2 matches. Sitting on 2 points means you have only won 1 matches. So that will put them near the bottom of the table.
So does that mean that they're at risk of getting demoted?
Yes, very, very likely. I think it's very likely that one of them will get demoted. I think it's also a 7 round competition. It's already the 6th round, and they have one team that's basically equal last on 2 points only. The other Taiwanese team may also get demoted. It'll be a bit sad if both Taiwanese teams get demoted, but it could be happening. Not much else to report. That's the brief update from China. Now, Gaza, I don't think we have anything else that we wanted to cover, unless you have something that you can think of that I've missed.
Well, let me think. There's definitely something that I wanted to quickly mention, and that is the Korean League playoffs.
Yes. Oh, yeah. That's right. Let's quickly talk about the Korean League playoff. I think I think at least one set of matches have finished.
Exactly one set of matches have been played.
Yes.
So they're structuring it so it looks like they will have 1 round each week.
Right.
There will be some weeks break. For instance, I don't think there will be... No, there will be some games played this week. I thought there might not be because of the LG Cup, but it looks like... Yes, no, there will be some games played this week. Yes.
Right, very nice.
But later in the week than this set of matches that has just taken place. However, the way that the postseason works is not that. It's not what you see on the on the page that we've got on the screen here. That is not how the league works.
Right.
No, the way that the league works is second place. That there are 2 groups, so we could just call them Group A, Group B. They do have specific names, but they're Korean names that I don't mean anything to me.
Yeah.
But let's just say this is in one of the groups. Okay, second place will play third place.
Right.
In a best of 3, so you have to win 2 matches.
Right.
Whoever wins that, they play first place in the group. Again, a best of 3.
Yeah.
Group A and Group B both do that.
Yeah.
So essentially, there's a group champion. Right? Does that make sense?
Yes.
And then the 2 champions will play each other in the grand final, which will also be best of 3.
Yes.
So what happened last week was in Group B, second place and third place, they played each other.
Right. Yes.
Now, second place is Team Beautiful Hapcheon, and they are actually the defending champions
Yes.
from last season.
Yep.
And third place was Team Korea Zinc. That's Shin Minjun and Choi Jong's team.
Yep.
Now, these playoffs have an interesting twist, and to explain this twist, I should probably mention how the regular season worked.
Yep.
Each match in the regular season was 4 games, and a team had to use different players for each game. So you had 4 games, and you had to use different players for each game, and if it ended up being 2 games all, you had to play a 5th game. But in the 5th game, you could reuse a player. You could use a player from one of the previous 4 games.
Yep.
Now, in the playoffs, it's simply 5 games.
Right.
Each match is 5 games. And it doesn't, unlike the regular season where, the number of games you won was important.
Yep.
What I mean is that if you won 3-1 or if you won 4-0, there were slight differences in because it affects the tiebreakers for who finished above who in the regular season. In the postseason, all that matters is whether or not you win the match. So you just need to win 3 games to win the match. And like I said, it's 5 games, and you have to use different players. You can't reuse players in the postseason for a match. Right? You have to use 5 different players.
Yep.
However, what they do is they play the first 3 boards at the same time, and only after those games have finished will they start the 4th board.
Yes.
But if a team has won 3-0, if a team wins 3-0, they don't even bother with the other 2 boards. The match ends because all that matters is who wins the match. So once a team has won 3, then the match ends.
Yeah.
If no team has won 3, then they'll play the 4th board, and if it's still 2-2, then they'll play the 5th board.
Yeah.
Now, one twist that they've put in here is basically a way to give the second place team a slight advantage, sort of as a reward for finishing second.
Yes.
And what they've done is in the first match, the third place team has to announce their players and board assignments first.
Yes.
And then the second place team, they can, strategically assign their players to give their team a favorable matchup.
Yep.
So in this case, Korea Zinc, they finished 3rd in their group, so they had to do their board assignments first.
Yep.
And so then Beautiful Hapcheon, what they did is they assigned... So Korea Zinc put Choi Jong, on board 1.
Yep.
And Beautiful Hapcheon, so they assigned Park Young-hoon.
Young-hoon, yep.
The veteran, former world champion.
Yep.
To face Choi Jong. And Choi Jong, despite, Beautiful Hapcheon strategically assigning their players, Choi Jong actually won this game.
Nice.
So yeah, a good win by her to give Korea Zinc a good start. Now on board 2, Korea Zinc put on Shin Minjun.
Yep.
And so Beautiful Hapcheon assigned their number 1 player, Park Junghwan, to board 2. Park Junghwan, of course, would be the only player on Beautiful Hapcheon to be favoured to beat Shin Minjun. And that's exactly what he did.
Right.
So that meant that it was 1 game apiece. Then on board 3, Korea Zinc put their number 5 player, their weakest, I guess technically their weakest player, Park Hyun-soo. Beautiful Hapcheon put their number 4 player, Park Jong-hoon.
Yep.
On that board, and Park Jong-hoon won that game. So that gave Beautiful Hapcheon a 2-1 lead.
Right.
Now on board 4, Korea Zinc put Yoon Junsang, their number 4 player.
Yep.
And Beautiful Hapcheon, they actually used one of their reserve players from the Futures League team.
Yeah.
Oh Yu-seong.
Yeah.
Yu Oh-seong.
Yep.
I believe he actually may have played in the Samsung Cup this year, so he's not a bad player. And he was also a reserve player for Team Celtrion last year as well, so a fairly strong player. But yeah, definitely interesting that they didn't use their number 5 player, Hyo Young-ho.
Yep.
They don't seem to have used Hyo Young-ho very much at all this season, so yeah, interesting as to why they bothered drafting him, but there you go.
Yep.
But in the end, Yu Oh-seong did actually win that game. He beat Yoon Junsang.
Oh, wow.
So that meant that Beautiful Hapcheon won the match 3-1. So that meant that obviously they won the first match, but it's like I said, it's a best of 3, so you need to win 2 matches.
Yep.
Now, that match was played on Thursday. Then the match 2 was played the very next day on Friday.
Yep.
Now, for the remaining matches, the second place team doesn't get the advantage of seeing the assignments of the third place team in advance.
Yep.
So there's no more advantage. So both teams have to give their assignments basically blind without knowing what the other team's done.
Yep.
But you would have to say that Beautiful Hapcheon may have gotten a little bit lucky because they managed to put Park Junghwan against Shin Minjun yet again.
Wow.
So, that was a good matchup for Beautiful Hapcheon. And Park Junghwan did, in fact, beat Shin Minjun 2 days in a row.
Yep.
So that was a win for Beautiful Hapcheon for board 1. On board 2, Park Jong-hoon was up against Korea Zinc's third player, Hong Mu-jin.
Yep.
Yeah, so Hong Mu-jin was actually going to play board 5 on the first match, but he didn't end up playing because Beautiful Hapcheon already won. But he did play on board 2 this match. Unfortunately, though, he was not able to win. Park Jong-hoon won that one.
Yep. But half a point.
Yeah, half a point. That's right. So Beautiful Hapcheon was up 2-0. And so Korea Zinc were 1 loss. They were 1 win. Beautiful Hapcheon were 1 win away from winning the entire round.
Yes.
Now, on board 3, Kim Jin-hui is the number 3 player for Beautiful Hapcheon, and he was playing Choi Jong.
Yes.
And Choi Jong, just like she did in the first match, she won.
Nice.
2 very good wins, yes. Especially considering she didn't have a great regular season, losing 11 games. She came in clutch in the postseason to win when it mattered.
Yes.
And then for board 4, it was actually a rematch of the first match, board 4. Yu Oh-seong
Yep.
versus Yoon Junsang.
Right.
And this time, Yoon Junsang, he got revenge. 24 hours. Only took him 24 hours to get revenge. And he won the game, beat Yu Oh-seong, and that made it 2 games apiece.
Yep.
So they had to play the 5th game, but Beautiful Hapcheon still had Park Young-hoon, whereas Korea Zinc were left with their 5th player, Park Hyun-soo.
Right.
And in the end, the veteran Park Young-hoon did end up prevailing over the younger, less experienced player Park Hyun-soo, and was able to secure the win for board 5, which also secured the match win for Beautiful Hapcheon, which also secured the round win.
Very nice.
So that means Beautiful Hapcheon will move on to play. And like I said, the Korean, this website here that you see on YouTube suggests they'll be playing Team Kicks next. That is not true. They'll be playing Team Jongkwonjang Chinook next.
Yep. Okay, yep.
Because Jongkwonjang Chinook were the winners in the regular season in that group.
Yep.
So the next match for those 2 will be Beautiful Hapcheon versus Team Jongkwonjang Chinook. And that will be exciting because that will be Park Junhwan's team versus Byun Sang-il's team.
Yes. Looking forward.
However, that will not be the next match to be played. The next match to be played, and this will be played this coming week, will be Team Kicks versus Team Celtrion.
Yes.
Now, Team Kicks, they finished 3rd in their group. Team Celtrion finished 2nd. So Team Celtrion will have the advantage in the first match.
Yep.
Of seeing Team Kicks' player assignments in advance. And one thing worth pointing out is that Team Kicks, that is the team that has Shin Jinseo in it.
Yeah.
So I expect Team Celtron will be assigning their worst player.
Yeah.
Unlike Beautiful Hapcheon's strategy where they assigned their best player to play the number one.
Yeah.
I assume that Team Celtron are going to assign their worst player to play Shin Jinseo because Shin Jinseo is favored to beat anybody.
Yeah, so it's guaranteed to win anyway. So they're kind of just playing for. Well, they basically have to play for wins in the other 3 games. Basically.
Yeah, so I think the proper strategy for Team Celtron would be assign a sacrificial lamb against Shin Jinseo and then try to win on all the other boards.
Yeah.
I would imagine Team Kicks' strategy would perhaps be to put Shin Jinseo on board 4 or 5. That way,
Shit, Gaza, I'm not joking you. That's just been an earthquake here. If I high under the table, that's because that's why it is.
What, an earthquake in Melbourne?
Yep, just happened. Pretty low in the Richter scale, but that's what the shaking was about.
Okay, well, I didn't hear anything, but yes, I mean,
Probably very low, but it's all right. It's a bit of an earthquake. Just happened.
All right, no worries. We keep moving on. I mean,
Yeah.
unfortunately, we don't have any shocking news to accompany the earthquake. That would be a great segue, but
Yeah.
it is what it is. Perhaps next time we'll have better timing.
Yeah, let's see.
But in any case, yes, the next round will be Team Kicks versus Team Celtron. Team Kicks barely made the post-season. I think Kim Junghwan, the manager for Team Kicks, I believe he did mention when, after their last round, the regular season, he didn't want to be known as the manager who failed to get Shin Jinseo to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And fortunately for him, he succeeded in getting Shin Jinseo to the playoffs. And we shall see how far they will get. Maybe they'll go far. Maybe they'll get eliminated in the very first round.
Right. Okay. Now, Gaza, this whole Shin Jinseo, is guaranteed to beat the other player. Now, even if the player they put out has a 10% chance, I do wonder from a statistic and probability point of view if they would actually do better by pitting their strongest player versus Shin Jinseo, even if the win rate is at 20%. I do wonder. Because winning 3 games is not easy. But hey, it is what it is.
It's not easy. Yes, it is true, and it may seem a little bit risky to basically give yourself sort of an automatic loss. However, you have to also consider the fact Shin Jinseo has won 20 games and he's lost 2.
Yeah.
It seems to be no matter who he plays, he almost always wins. And if you put your strongest player against Shin Jinseo and it doesn't work, you may feel a little bit silly.
Yeah.
However, we shall see. You also have to remember, Team Kicks have some players that aren't doing very well. So, yes, I do expect Team Celtron will be able to win the first match with their advantage, but not sure how match 2 or if needed match 3 will go.
Yeah, very interesting. Looking forward to the Korean League postseason. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, Gaza, is it time for the calendar?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Yes. Let's look at the calendar. I'm very keen to look at the calendar. Now, of course, Gaza, we talked about the Honinbo Game 2, Day 1. Of course, Day 2 is happening tomorrow, so that's something to look forward to. But unfortunately, it's also the reason why Iyama and Ichiriki Ryo not being in the LG Cup. That's because LG Cup happens tomorrow as well, and that's when the round 1 will be happening, as we discussed. And Gaza, we didn't show these pictures during the podcast or during the main segment in the podcast where we talked about the LG Cup. But there it is. This is the opening night banquet. This is some pictures of the Korean contingent over here. And they look pretty happy eating their food. And this is one of the Chinese tables. They all have their earphones in earbuds. I imagine is to understand the speeches given in Korean, so they get a translation of that. Some more pictures of the players, and you can see in the far end over here, it's Shibano Toramaru. More pictures, and yeah, that's the. It literally says foreign players group, so that will be Yu Zhengqi and Xu Chaoyuan. I do wonder if they're listening to the Japanese translation or the Mandarin one, but this is the group photo for everyone. Yes, Shibano Toramaru is actually quite diminutive, if you can put it like that. This is the fighting. Kerje is the only person wearing a mask for some reason, but he's not the only person wearing sneakers, because Byung Sang-il also has the habit of doing that. And that's where I've done the draw. Very much looking forward to it. It's going to be a really interesting one. So that's it, Gaza, and that's the LG Cup. Some pictures from the LG Cup. Of course, the Bing League and Yi League will continue, and as well as the Asian Games qualifiers for the women. And I don't know if you want to talk about this, but there's an IBK Cup round of 16. That's the women's.
Yes, the IBK Cup is starting this year. Of course, last year we had one of our favourite players, Jong Yoo-jin, win the IBK Cup. Yes. Very sensational.
Yeah.
But look, this is going to be a really busy week this week. I mean, we've got to have 16 games in the LG Cup this week.
Yeah.
It's a world major, so it is very exciting.
Very exciting.
Of course, we've got the Honinbo, and then at the end of the week, we have something as well, something big.
Big, which is the 10th Globis Cup under-20s tournament. That's the international tournament for under-20s. It's got players from Japan, China, Taiwan, Korea, and also Europe and USA, and someone from Thailand. So I believe the list of participants, I think we've gone through this before, but they are from China, Tu Xiaoyu, Wang Xinghao, Xu Yidi, and from Japan we got Sakayuki, Taro Miura, Zheng Fukang. Now Zheng Fukang is actually from Malaysia, so along with the Thai player, there's actually two players from the Southeast Asia region, so that's really, really lovely to see. And then representing Korea, we have Han Woo-jin, Moon Min-jung, and Lee Yun. I do believe they were also the three players to have represented Korea last time. Let's just say they didn't do that well. They didn't do so well last time. And from Taipei,
that is also correct.
Yeah, from Taipei, we have Xu Jing'en. And for Europe and the USA are also coming. But for USA, a player I look forward to very much, which is Kevin Yang. I do recall that she did beat some Japanese one dan last time, so very, very strong player. And from Europe, we have a Denis Dobranis. He's a 7-dan, so I think European 7-dans are really, really strong. So looking forward to his performances.
I do remember Europe's representative last year was. I think he was the first one to lose.
I think he faced a strong Chinese player. If I'm not wrong, can't remember. Maybe Tu Xiaoyu or something. But yeah, it was it wasn't easy for him. And then from Thailand, I really don't know his name in English, but in Chinese it's pronounced something like Peng Sa Kang. So I don't know.
Hong Sakaran Sunorama.
Okay. I couldn't find his name in Thai, so I didn't. And there's two Japanese players that I couldn't find the English names for. So, but there's actually two Japanese players there that I didn't really know how the names are.
So we've got, for the Japanese players, I believe we have Sakayuki.
That's right.
Taro Miura.
Zheng Fukang.
Tanaka Yuki.
Okay.
Let me check. We've got Omote Yuto.
Omote Yuko. Okay. That could be it.
Tanaka Yuki as well.
Yeah.
And Konishi Masaaki. Let me check that one.
But they were, their names are really hard to find. I just really didn't want to spend all the time looking for.
I believe it's Konishi Masaaki.
Okay, Konishi
Masaaki.
Masaaki.
But do you notice anyone missing?
Kotera.
Fukuoka
Kotaro.
Kitaro,
Yeah.
the runner-up in
Yeah.
last year's Globus Cup,
Yeah.
is not in this year's Globus Cup. And you may be wondering,
Why
is
is
he
that?
old? Is he too old? He's not too old.
No.
He lost in the
Ah.
qualifiers. He'd
Right.
failed to qualify.
Yeah. Okay.
Amote Yuto
Hmm.
beat him in the qualifiers. Amote Yuto is a one-dan.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
But he defeated Fukuoka Kitaro in the qualifiers. So Fukuoka Kitaro won't be participating. And who's another really young Japanese player that you can think of?
Seki Kotaro.
He's not that young.
Oh.
Think really young.
Sumire.
Sumire.
Yeah.
She's not in it either. And from what I can see, she didn't even enter the qualifiers.
Right. Yes.
So yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. If she either didn't enter the qualifiers or she did, and I just can't see it. But it looks like she didn't enter the qualifiers.
Right.
Well, in any case, she's not going to be competing. In fact, there won't be any women Japanese players competing because none of them qualified.
Yeah. No. I think there's definitely some in the prelim that I can see, but
There were definitely women in the prelim. Yuno Risa
made a final.
Yuno Risa lost in the final round to Cheng Fukang.
Yep. Yeah.
Sakai Yuki also defeated a woman player in the final round. But yeah, no women players from any country, I believe. It's going to be a sausage fest.
Wow. Yeah.
To put it one way.
Yeah. That's yeah. I guess so. But there's no Germans in there though. So I still can't find Fukuoka's name. So I don't know when he got knocked out.
No. It's in the bottom right.
Oh yeah. Okay. He got knocked out in okay, by this guy.
In the final round by Amote Yuto.
Yeah. Okay. Oh wow, that's a bit sad. But he is the only player to have had a better than 50% record in the Korean league. So the only Japanese player.
Team
anyway.
Japan, yeah.
So it's really sad to knock him. But the silver lining is there's some strong players from Japan that are actually beating even Fukuoka. So maybe there is hope in the next gen of Japanese players.
Yes, we shall see. Maybe a Japanese player will win the Globis Cup, or maybe Wang Xinghao will win it.
Yeah, guys, I can't remember if I've mentioned this, but it might be that it's the last time. It will be the last Globis Cup. And I think it's because the president of the company who sponsors the Globis Cup creatively named the Globis company, I think. That Globis, the company, the president said that he will sponsor this competition for 10 years. And this is exactly the 10th year. So, I don't know. Maybe it was just figuratively speaking. It might actually run for longer than 10 years, but let's see. I hope that it will return and it becomes a long-running international tournament for youth players.
Yeah, so it would be good, but we shall see.
We shall see. So that's it for this week, Gaza. Very much looking forward to the LG Cup and, of course, the Honinbo Game 2. And, of course, the 10th Globus Cup. So with that, I think it's time to say goodbye.
Yes, goodbye.
Bye.